Hi everyone. This isn't a vinyl finds video. This time around, I've decided to show people my collection, and I've managed to pick up every single Leonard Cohen album I own. And I do actually own all the studio albums, but I haven't really sort of got around to getting the live albums, which I'm not really sure if they're my sort of thing, but is I'm not a big fan of live albums. But yeah, so I'll start off with them and I'll talk a bit about what I think about them. First off is Songs of Leonard Cohen, his debut album. This is one album that I actually regret selling on vinyl. You know, I actually bought a copy off eBay, and anyone who's tried to buy stuff off eBay will know that most of the sellers don't have a clue. They're complete amateurs who've maybe found a couple of scratched ELO records in their basement, and after every listing they put rare at the end of it when it's not. And I bought this off some guy who was such a conservative grader. You know, he'd say something like, "Oh, it's VG plus condition." I got the damn thing, and it turned out to be a near mint original. Now, original copies of Songs of Leonard Cohen aren't particularly rare, but once Stephanie Dorr from the VC, she did a video about how it took her ages to get a clean copy, and I already had a clean copy, and I sold it. You know, most 60s records are like that. You know, the amount of copies of the Moody Blues, Days of Future Past that I've been through, I mean, I've lost count. You know, I bought a lot of Beach Boys records, which are usually scratched. You know, but sometimes if it's for a quid, I just chuck them out. You know. Next up, his second album, Songs from a Room. Not my favourite album, but it does have like a bird on the wire. This one tends to be a lot more depressing than the first one. I know Leonard Cohen gets an unfair reputation as being a miserablist, which he isn't, but this one's got Seems So Long Ago Nancy on it, which is about a woman who kills herself. Yeah, barrel of laughs. Now I'll probably get a lot of abuse for saying this. Songs of Love and Hate, I know people say this is his best album and so on and so forth, and yeah, I agree, it's got some good songs on there, Diamonds in the Mine, Dress Rehearsal Rag, Famous Blue Raincoat, but it's not my favourite. Yeah, it's alright, it's a good album, but not my favourite. And I actually do prefer this album. Really like this record. This is a sort of the point where the songs start to get maybe a little less sparse. Everything feels a bit fleshed out. This is New Skin for the Old Ceremony. Yeah, Lover, 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 Lover. Chelsea Hotel. Yeah, There Is a War. Brilliant songs. And here's another one which I have on both vinyl. Actually, this is just a cover. The record's in the player. Just having a listen to this. And on CD, I absolutely love this record, and it's not one that's particularly liked. People were horrified that Leonard Cohen would want to work with Phil Spector. You know, you've got one guy who's having a midlife crisis, his marriage is falling apart, and another guy who is a psychopath with a Napoleon complex. The pair of them starts drinking, guns are put to heads, a lot of carnage, and the end result is a really good record, despite the fact that it's unfinished. There's some really just weird stuff on there. You know, some of the lyrics. I mean, my favourite song on here is "Memories." I just love the song. the, the opening lines are, Frankie Lane was singing Jezebel. I pinned an iron cross to my lapel. I walked up to the tallest and the blondest girl. I say, look, you don't know me now, but very soon you will. I just love those lyrics. And people do complain that the lyrics are sort of overtly sexual. There's a line in the third track, Paper Thin Hotel, where it's like there's a rhyming couplet. Was it? You're the naked angel in my heart. You're the woman with her legs apart. I just love that album. And the follow up is actually one of his more underrated ones as well, like Recent Songs. I was listening to it, and there's some really good tracks on there, like Came So Far for Beauty, Humbled in Love. That's also a really good track as well. But it doesn't really get much of a mention. So yeah, now we're on to the 80s. I think that was... Yeah, this one was done in 79. Now on to the 80s, where Leonard Cohen did, I believe, 2 albums. The first one, Various Positions, not his best. I must admit, there's quite a few sort of weak tracks on there, but it does have Dance Me to the End of Love, Hallelujah, and If It Be Your Will. Now, I mean, his version of Hallelujah isn't the best. I'd say John Cale's is. I don't like Jeff Buckley's. But the last track on there, If It Be Your Will, is probably one of his most underrated songs. I mean, there is that documentary they had where it's based around, I think it's I'm Your Man, it's called. And it was sort of based around a sort of tribute concert. So you had like the usual people, like you had Jarvis Cocker, who's a massive Leonard Cohen fan, then you had Nick Cave, and they're all doing covers, and this is pretty crap film. You know, I didn't go bomb on it. It has its moments, but there was one bit which was really good in that, one of the cover versions. I mean, they had Bono on there. That really, really sort of fucked the film up big time. But If It Be Your Will, there was a version of it done by Anthony and the Johnsons. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of Anthony, but he just nailed the song. You know, more people should cover it, If It Be Your Will. Excellent song. And actually this one is one of Leonard Cohen's better albums, I'm Your Man. And First We Take Manhattan, Ain't No Cure for Love, Everybody Knows. And there's one track where he puts some of one of Lorca's poems into a song, Take This Waltz. The only real sort of duff track on there is like Jazz Police. And one of the the penultimate song on this one, I Can't Forget, was done really well by the Pixies on one of the tribute albums. I think it's called I'm Your Fan. Yeah, really worth checking out that cover version. And now we're on to the 90s, where Leonard Cohen actually, he did one album. not a very productive time. But yeah, The Future. And I think out of all of Leonard Cohen's albums, this one is probably one of my favourites, and I think it's, alongside Recent Songs, it's probably one of his more underrated albums. I just love the track Anthem, really beautiful lyrics, and in tracks like Waiting for the Miracle, where he sings about sort of marrying someone and being lonely together. It's one of those songs, one of the best songs about sort of disappointment, or sort of romantic disappointment. And also you get The Future, which, despite being a rather cheesy sounding track, I really love. there's a line in it about sort of like give me crack and anal sex. So yeah, there was a long sort of period where not much was really happening between after the Future. I think he went away to some sort of Buddhist retreat. Then, about almost 10 years later, you get 10 new songs, which I think is probably his last really, really decent record. I know his newer stuff gets a lot of good reviews from critics, but I'll explain that later. But this one has songs like "A Thousand Kisses Deep," "That Don't Make It Jump," which is I think is a song he still regularly plays. "Love Itself," yeah, absolutely love it. Then 2004's "Dear Heather," which is probably one of my least favourite Leonard Cohen albums. It's just never really stuck with me. There's a good version of I think it's who did it? "And We Go No More Roving." Lord Byron. Yeah, that's quite a good song, but the rest of it is I just never really got that album. So yeah, moving on. So after a sort of another long period of inactivity, yeah, Old Ideas, and I can remember like rushing out to get this as soon as it came out. Yeah, so sort of the insert and all that, the usual sort of scribbles, doodlings. Yeah, I mean, I was quite disappointed by it, to be honest. I know it was a big comeback, and as I said before in the previous video, that there was a sense that he was maybe stripping things back. You know, everything did sound sterile. Well, I mean, everything did sound a bit synthetic, a bit cheesy, but you know, the songs stood up well. And yeah, I mean, he tried to strip it back a bit, and there's a couple of good songs like "Show Me the Place" in the sort of bluesy, folksy sort of track "Darkness." I really like that track, but yeah, this one hasn't really sort of blown me away. So yeah, and this is one of my recent purchases, which I've shown in another video. Popular Problems. So yeah, I've been listening to this for the past week or so. I've sort of belatedly like had a first listen to it, and it's actually a bit better than Old Ideas. I wouldn't say it's one of his better albums, but like tracks like "Slow" are quite good actually. And even though songs like "Did I Ever Love You" are a bit too heavy-handed with the sort of female backing vocals, it's still not bad. And the only live album I got is here it is. The recent sort of Live in Dublin one, which I got I got a promotional copy of it. Because I was having a bit of a funny 5 minutes over December, I didn't really get around to reviewing it. But yeah, hopefully in February I will be able to do another Vinyl Finds video. And hopefully by that time I will sort of lose a beard and the sort of messy hair. I'll best get it cut ASAP. Yeah, really sort things out. But yeah, until then, goodbye.